r/AskReddit by Reddify. What's the hittest thing an employer has ever done to you? Worked delivering pizzas for a local Italian restaurant. One evening I showed up for work and the place was suddenly a Chinese food restaurant. Fully staffed and open. Happened overnight. Never got a phone call. It was a very r/glitch in the Matrix moment. Edit: this was in a smallish Texas town. I never made any attempt to contact the Russians. I'm fine with this. Two very short stories. Old employer put a lot of requirements on me to achieve full-time status. I spent thousands to do so. Then they dropped my contract without notice. Current employer: I worked 18 months without any vacation or even requesting a day off for personal. One of the guys I supervised died. And he happened to be my stepfather. Instead of taking time off for my mother and brothers, I covered all my hours plus his for the next several weeks, running into 100 plus hours per pay period multiple times. Because the department couldn't handle losing both of us, and we were already limping by with temps, I finally asked for a night off to spend with family and help with their things. And my boss tells me no and calls me a liar. I'm currently on a 3-week paid vacation after the bigger bosses heard about that one. Two stories from the same employer. Story number 1 ===. I'm colorblind. My boss assigned me a work task once that was color coded in a way that I couldn't see. When I brought up my vision issues, not refusing to do the work, but asking for accommodation, I was written up for what they perceived as insubordination. When I filed a complaint with hours asking for the write-up to be removed, the hours rep graciously gave me what she perceived as a solution, that I should go use the company's tuition reimbursement program to go take a remedial art class at my local community college, so that you can finally learn your colors, she said. Story number 2 ===. Same employer. I was working second shift hours, 4 to midnight, in our network control center. At one point during the holiday season, I was working the last part of my shift alone, nobody else in the building, except the security guard, who was out of my line of sight. At midnight when my shift ended, my coworker came in to start working the overpass shift alone. This coworker is seriously diabetic, of the type who wears an insulin pump to regulate her system. Literally the moment she walked in the door, her pump started beeping that she was out of insulin. To avoid going into a diabetic shock at a time when she had nobody else around to help save her, she had to drive home quickly, pick up an insulin refill, and then come back to work. That required me to stay overtime by about 45 minutes to keep the place staffed. When I showed up at 4 the next afternoon for my next shift, I discovered I had been written up for the unauthorized overtime. I left the company within a few weeks after incident number 2. Working at Wendy's, fire dep came by and said our fryer was a fire hazard because of the extremely frayed cords. Got large grip tool and pulled the plug while wearing thick ass rubber gloves. Gave the paper to me, shift lead and highest ranking, that basically said it was fire hazard and it needed to be repaired or replaced. Put an orange sticker over the plug and basically made it very obvious. Unfortunately, we only had 2 fryers, and the other was used for chicken only, and we weren't allowed to fry fries in this one. So, the guy leaves, and I get to work and hang signs saying blah blah blah, no fries today, sorry. About 3 hours later, night manager comes in and flips. Says that I needed to plug the fryer in as soon as possible. Told me to rip the orange security tape off, grab the frayed plug, and ignore the safety depth and just plug it back in. I told her no, that I wouldn't do it. My name was on the sheet signing. It was my ass if they came back and saw that we didn't get it fixed. Not only that, but it was a fire hazard, and this it wanted me to bear him did when the other guy used a special tool and rubber gloves for it. I told her no. She sent me home and tried to bully others into plugging it in. I told them not to, and that it was dangerous and breaking the law by doing it. I tried to explain that by doing it, they could face lawsuits and whatnot, because cameras, and I sure as hell wasn't taking the fall for that. Big fight with the manager, and finally she just grabs it and plugs it in. She tells me not to bother coming back since I was starting a fight and riling people up. I go outside and call the fire dep and get in touch with the marshal and tell him everything. Watch them pull up before I left. I mean, I guess I got her back. But I still lost my job. Last week my boss gave me a difficult task with an impossible time frame. When the time was up and I said I needed another day to finish, he got all cocky and went, "I know. I don't need it until tomorrow. But I told you I need it today, because if I told you I needed it tomorrow you'd say you couldn't get it done until Monday." And when I told him that's not true, he pointed to the fact that I was unable to do the task in his just recently admitted impossible time frame as evidence that I wouldn't have finished it on time if he told me when he actually needed it. So, setting me up for failure, and then using the fact that I failed as evidence to say I'm a hitty employee, ain't management grand. I got another job offer for a position that paid about 50% more than what I was currently making. My supervisor made a counter offer that more than matched it. I just had to jump through some paperwork formalities. That paperwork gets dragged out for about 2 months when I'm told that the supervisor didn't have the authority to make that kind of counter offer. Instead I was told 10%. Take it or leave it. I had the offer in writing, but it wasn't an official document. Fighting it would have been a long uphill battle. I took the 10%, found another job, and left without helping train a replacement with no ducks given. New job was even higher than the original offer, so it all worked out. A manager at work. Now I always try to be helpful. I do my work and try to contribute to make other people's days easier. I arrive to work after school and I'm just about to get changed. A manager comes in and says, "Hey PM, me you smiling. Would you be able to bring something from the freezer to the front?" I figured sure. It must be busy. It doesn't hurt me. I don't clock in. Just quickly nip to get it. I arrive on the front. The store is completely quiet and the manager is bragging to another manager about how convincing she can be, getting me to work for free. It doesn't seem like much now I've typed it, but by God my blood boiled. And she is the only person I resent. Multiple instances of her being manipulative. But this was the most innocent it seemed, and I thought I was genuinely helping. Edit. Just a few clarifications based on responses I've been getting. Working off the clock was my choice. Fault. It's illegal. To save time. However sassy it would have been to return the item to the fridge. It would be an item I needed when I did clock in, so wouldn't have been worth the cool points. P. I doubt I'll bring it up with her, but might call her out in future. Now I know I'm backed by 3,500 internet people. Fired me for putting in my 2 weeks. Thanks for the gold. I work at Sears as a backroom associate. The PMT, preventative maintenance technician, position opened up the day the old PMT worker put his 2-week notice in. My boss approached me asking if I would like the job, knowing that the pay was better than my current positions. I was excited and instantly told him yes. The following day they started training me for the position. This went on for about a week or so. They announced that there would be a meeting at the end of the month. Well, I attended the meeting, only to be introduced to the new PMT worker. I couldn't believe it. They gave me the job and then took it away just like that. Ever since then, there has been no mention of the incident. They handled the entire situation in such a horrible manner. I guess that's why Sears is one of the top 10 worst places to work at. Duck Sears. Day 1. I'm contracted to edit a screenplay for an up-and-coming feature film production. Day 2. I receive the first draft of the aforementioned screenplay. Half of my payment is provided to me. Day 3. I return the edited screenplay to the person who hired me. Day 5. Having heard nothing back from my employer, I follow up with a question about next steps. Day 7. The silence continues, and I start to get worried about the second half of my payment. Day 8. I finally receive a response. In it, I'm told that I was budgeted for a minimum number of hours, which I had yet to meet. As a result of editing the screenplay so quickly, I'm asked to fill out the remaining time by doing a scene breakdown and a cost analysis of every prop that will appear in the movie. Despite initially wanting to protest, I look at the turn of events as an opportunity. Day 10. The requested documents are sent to my employer. Day 11. Oh. Look, the silence is back. Day 13. Neither my emails nor my telephone call are answered. Day 15. I get in touch with another member of the production team and discover that nobody has any idea who I am. It comes to light that the person who'd hired me had subcontracted what was supposed to be their work and had taken the credit for everything that I'd done. This person was subsequently fired from the project after being paid several times more than what I had been promised. I asked to take their place, but am told that the work is already done. Day 200-ish. My name does not appear in the credits. TL. Doctor, I edited the screenplay for a feature film, but I got stiffed on everything important. I'm currently supervising anywhere from 7 to 22 guys at work, depending on the season. I don't get paid extra to do this. I just do it because it needed doing, and have been doing quite well at it for the past 14 months. Recently we had quite a few supervisor positions open up. I put in and was interviewed for one of them. My boss called me into his office and informed me that he and the warehouse director felt I was too introverted to be a supervisor. He suggested I start working on coming out of my shell. So if another position opens up I can try again. I'll work on coming out of my shell, alright. Going to get a lot practice interviewing for other jobs elsewhere.